Hello again, and welcome back to Kids Bible Stories. Today's story is called The Last Words of Elisha. This is Elisha part 13, and comes from 2 Kings chapter 13, verses 14 through 21, and 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. I want to take a moment and thank our newest Patreon members. Thank you, Erica, Audelag, Lee, Christina, and Elizabeth. Your support is playing a pivotal role in keeping Kids Bible Stories free for thousands of families, helping bring the Bible to life for little hearts everywhere. If you would like to join and be a part of this ministry, it's simple. Just head to our Patreon page, where you'll get weekly bonus content and have the freedom and flexibility to access all previous content too. The link is in the show notes for you. Thank you for making this possible. Listeners, I am so impressed with you. You've made it through our whole series of Elisha. This is our very last episode. By hearing his story again and again, I hope that you understand him better and see how amazing God is. Next time you hear about Elisha at church, I bet you'll feel so ready to listen, and you can also tell others what you already know. Now, a long time has passed for Elisha since the last episode. In today's episode, Elisha is much older, and we find him near the end of his life. We pick up our story here. The old prophet Elisha lay on his bed, his body weak and tired. He had served God for many, many years, speaking his words and performing mighty miracles. But now, the time had come. Elisha was sick with the illness that would take him home to God. King Joash of Israel hurried to Elisha's house. He knelt beside the prophet's bed, his eyes filled with tears.
"My father, oh my father,"
he cried.
"the chariots of Israel and its horsemen."
Joash was remembering how Elisha had been a great protector of Israel, guiding them through God's wisdom. Without Elisha, what would happen to Israel? The words King Joash spoke might sound familiar to you. Why? Because it was similar to what Elisha said to his mentor, his teacher, Elijah, before the Lord took Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind. Okay, back to our story. Even in his weakness, Elisha had one last message from God. With slow and somewhat trembling movement, he raised his hand and said,
"Take a bow and some arrows."
Joash obeyed, grabbing his mighty wooden bow and a handful of sharp, shining arrows.
"Now draw the bow,"
Elisha said. And as Joash pulled back the string, Elisha placed his frail hands over the king's strong ones.
"Now open the window to the east,"
Elisha commanded. Joash pushed open the wooden shutters. The bright sunlight poured in, and through the window he could see the land of Syria.
"Now shoot."
The arrow soared through the air like a streak of lightning. As it disappeared into the distance, Elisha's voice rang out.
"The Lord's arrow of victory. The arrow of victory over Syria. And you will defeat the Syrians at Aphek until they are destroyed."
King Joash's heart pounded with hope. Victory! But Elisha wasn't finished.
"Now Take the rest of the arrows and strike the ground,
he instructed. King Joash looked at the arrows in his hands. Strike the ground? Even if he didn't quite understand, he obeyed. Kneeling down, he struck the ground 3 times. Then he stopped. Elisha's eyes flared with disappointment.
Oh, you should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times. Then you would have completely defeated Syria. But now you will only defeat them 3 times.
King Joash's heart sank. He had been given the chance for a greater victory. Oh, but he hadn't been bold enough to take it. Soon after, Elisha passed away. The people mourned him deeply. They buried him in a tomb, knowing they had lost a great prophet, a man who had walked closely with God. Months passed, then years. Life went on in Israel, and the people carried on their daily lives. But Elisha's story wasn't over yet. One day, someone was digging a grave to bury a man who had died. The shovel thumped with each scoop of dirt. He was about to place the man's body inside the tomb, when suddenly, shouts rang out in the distance. Oh no! Moabite raiders! These were fierce men who would barge into town, take things that didn't belong to them, and sometimes even hurt people. The man digging the grave knew he had to hurry. He was in danger. He panicked. There was no time to finish the burial properly. In a rush, without thinking, he quickly threw the dead man's body in a tomb. It just so happened to be Elisha's tomb. Then the man took off for safety. And then, the most amazing thing happened. The moment the man's body touched Elisha's bones, life rushed back into him. His chest rose with breath, his eyes opened wide, and he sat up. The once dead man stood on his feet, alive again. Can you imagine the look on his face? 1 minute, he was gone, and the next, he was standing, whole and strong. The power of God didn't stop when Elisha died. God's power is bigger than time, bigger than people, bigger than anything. Well, that is it for our story today. But before we go, let's think about what we just heard. Help me remember. What's the name of the prophet we've been learning about?
Elisha.
Yes. Elisha told the king to strike the ground with the arrows. And how many times did the king strike the ground? Yes, 3 times. Elisha was disappointed by this. King Joash held back. It symbolized that he didn't fully trust or believe in God's promise. Since he stopped too soon, he only won part of the victory instead of all of it. It reminds me that when God asks us to do something, we should do it with all of our heart, holding nothing back. Even if it seems like something so small and simple, like unloading the dishwasher or feeding the dog. Even these everyday things, they honor God. Our Bible tells us,
So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God.
That means whatever you do. Share with me maybe a chore that you have at your house, that you can do it with all of your heart for the Lord.
Sweeping under the table. Feeding my animals.
Thanks for sharing. Okay, the last thing I want to point out is what happened when the dead man touched Elisha's bones.
He came back to life.
You got it. He came back to life. This was a little glimpse, like a sneak peek, of something even greater that would happen later. Jesus' resurrection. When Jesus died and was buried, he didn't stay in the tomb, did he?
No.
No, he rose again, proving that God has power over life and death. As we come to the close of our Elisha series, I'd love to hear what your favorite story about Elisha was. What did you learn about God? Your parents can share your answers with me by sending them to BibleStoriesPodcast@gmail.com. I'll put the link in the notes for them too. As you think about our Elisha series, remember, God's power, it's bigger than people, bigger than we can even understand, and it never runs out. Be confident that our mighty God, He loves you very, very much. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode. And, as always, bye for now.